We play Savage Worlds, whether we're at the table or over the internet. In our role-playing game, fantasy is just the beginning. From the Wild West to the depths of outer space and beyond. Anytime, any place. They're all Savage Worlds.
Pinnacle Entertainment Group presents Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. Fast, furious, fun, fantasy. On Kickstarter now.
Howdy, Pathfinders! Welcome to another Kickstarter launch Tuesday. The Goblins came out in force for this one. We are already funded, well on the way to fortune, fame, and success. Scorch lives. So, Scorch, Mike, how you been, buddy?
Pretty good, pretty good. How about you, Landauer?
Pretty good. It's good to have a Kickstarter day. I mean, I'm always excited. This one we had to delay about a month because hey, Solomon Kane happened, and I had to get on that campaign and save the wallet. So
people do good stuff, right?
Right. I'm so excited. So I've been playing through Rise of the Rune Lord. We got a game going every Friday, and it's so good. I mean, I played the original up through 3 books of the original, and that group kind of flamed out. And if you could be better than the original, it is. I'm partial to the rules, but I think there's some other design choices I think that you made that are actually pretty cool too. So, but not to get into that. If you haven't joined the Pathfinder for Savage Worlds train yet, now is a great time to do it. This campaign has an amazing all-in kind of level. It's not everything for Pathfinder. It doesn't have the 2 adventure paths, but you can add those on in as add-ons. But it's all the core material, all the books, all the cards, all of the fun little dials and the pennies and all that good stuff. And it's like a 28% dollar discount and free shipping to the USA. So if you haven't got on Pathfinder for Savage Worlds, head on over to the Kickstarter. Actually, I should put that in the I should get folks the link. So here's the amazing link for everybody. Let's pop that screen. So that's the link down below to head out to the Kickstarter. It is the Pathfinder for Savage Worlds Volume 2. And Michael will explain what exactly is in the Volume 2 for Volume 2. But it is, it's called Gamers at Kickstarter. We'll open up a Kickstarter page and look at it here in a bit. But if you have any questions for Mike, there's a whole lot in this campaign because it is both Bestiary 2 or Bestiary, if you pronounce it the way it's spelled in the Latin.
If you're nasty.
Right? We have this debate every time this comes up in staff chat. It's given the second of the half staff is on the Bestiary side, half staff's on the Bestiary side. It's really fun to watch Simon and Shane because they're on opposite sides of this debate go at it. But it's a huge number of monsters, which is great because this has monster cards. That's kind of I think the big new cool thing for the people who are the completionists, who are the game masters in the group. Monster cards. Talk about what the monster cards are, sir.
Yeah, so a few people had talked about them online in the past, and it was something that came up. I have a friend of mine who started running Rise of the Rune Lords for me. Yes, I play in it, even though I converted it. But one of the things he had trouble with is he could design all the encounters, he could look at all the creatures, know all the info. But as anybody who's played through some of the Paizo adventures know, they love to make elaborate encounters. And so you'll have this human and, his 2 giant companions and his demon minions, and then these 3 other goblins. So there can be a lot of stuff that comes out. And he was just like, man, if I had just some cards I could put out when I'm running, that would help me a lot. Because I keep the book open on the big thing and pull out the cards and whatnot. And we had done the archetypes and the adversaries and allies packs, right? And I really liked those. I used, doing my own campaign, I ended up using them I built them, why not use them, right? But then it was so I sat down and I with Shane and Simon, I was just like, look, I think this will be good ones. And what I didn't realize at the time is how many creatures there were going to be. I think we're at 387 between both books, something like that. And so it was like, well, if we're going to do them, we're going to do them all, right? Everything that's in both of the best bestiaries will be included here. And so, we did them by creature type groups. We tried to make them as close as possible for the same number. So I think the biggest, or the base is around 60 cards per pack. And then Outsiders, Paizo after my own heart. They love their Outsiders. I think there's 87 of them spread across, Simars, Inevitables, stuff like that. So they've all got the big creature art on one side, so you can show your players. Because if you're like me and you have that one player who knows what it is by the beginning of the description, and everybody else, you're trying to be like, all right, so it's got red-ish mane. It's got 5 hands. I don't know why. This time she's like, this is the bad boy. You see, you hold up the picture, and yeah, we're good to go. So I'm a big fan of them. I hope you all like them too. And I think more importantly, if this is something that everybody really likes, there's the potential to see it, in other products if it takes off.
No, it's great. They're super utilitarian. They're fun, and so the reason to get on the Kickstarter, folks, the biggest discount that we're offering is on those cards in the campaign. If you get them during the campaign, it is a major discount off of retail. Because there's a ton of cards because it's both Bestiary 1 and Bestiary 2. All the cards that have been out for Savage Pathfinder are in the 5 sets. So it's not just this campaign; it's both campaigns worth of monsters. So there's a lot of them. Like Mike said, it's like hundreds and hundreds. And they're bricky and chunky, and they're heavy. And if we price them out per card the way we normally price cards, they'd be pretty pricey too. So we are giving you a pretty awesome discount because it's Kickstarter shipping and bulk shipping and all that kind of fun stuff. So don't wait for retail on these if you want to get them all, because.
A little. I don't know if I'm supposed to share this kind of thing, but just a little, behind the scenes kind of thing. Even up to yesterday, right? Simon reaches out to me, and we're like, all right, this is already a good deal, but I think this will feel better, right? And we're like, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. And so I hope people are excited for them because we were really excited. And we want to make sure people get their hands on them.
Right. I mean, good thing Landauer didn't send out those preview emails to people that had prices included, because the prices are even better today than they would have been yesterday afternoon. So and I mean, that's because we always strive to have value in the Kickstarter. We realize that, there's still that idea that you can find our stuff at retail, and that's so hard post-pandemic. It was hard before pandemic, but we are a direct-to-consumer business. It's getting into distribution and staying there and having them stock. But see, the thing is, we're a weird company. We have so many SKUs. Like, if you break down the Pathfinder core box set, oh my God, there's so much in that box. Retail looks at that and goes, I don't know what to do with this. I can't break it. Give me the box, give me a price, fine. But we have customers who like to mix and match or order double things or have twice the bennies. And so, we like to be able to offer you guys and gals the ability to customize your orders. And retailers and distribution's like, okay, fine, we're going to charge you per SKU. And it's like, there's 90 SKUs on this campaign. Like, no, don't do that. Like, anyways.
Sometimes they open a box thinking they're supposed to and make life more difficult.
And put a big slash on 2 of the orders that have gone the furthest around the world from where they needed to go a month after. Yeah, that never happened. cough, recent campaign. We love Australia, New Zealand. We just hate trying to get stuff to you because it's very difficult to get stuff. And then for some reason, Canada. I mean, you're our neighbor. You're like America's hat. You're our receding hairline. Either way, whatever is working for you. And your country makes it very hard for us to get stuff to you, which is just, it's sad because you're our neighbors and you kind of speak the same language mostly. But it's very expensive for shipping. So take advantage of the Kickstarter. It's the best shipping we can offer, the best prices we can offer, and it's a really good deal to get in on the full bundle because actually I think like the next question, I think someone asked a really good one. I started before. Shadow Chasers asks, hey Mike, how big are the updates for the first Bestiary and Advanced Player's Guide 1 for the second printing? So
that's a fantastic question. So first things first, let me say that there is no one update that will make your book that you already purchased obsolete, right? That is absolutely not the case. I don't want that to even pop up here, so let's just get that out of the way.
We don't want you to buy new books if you like the ones you've got. We give you the updates for free.
Yeah. So when we first of all, I'll mention the Bestiary. For the Bestiary itself, back when we first did it, right, it was our very first translation of the Pathfinder rules. And so there are certain creatures that had a mixture of Savage Worlds and Pathfinder stats. So the biggest one is the werewolf has like fear, right? And in Pathfinder, it's very scary because it's hard to kill, but it doesn't have fear. And so there'll be some tweaks like that where it'll go away. We'll add a little bit of balance and things that we missed. But for the most part, the book will function. I think there is a slight augmentation to a couple smaller creatures. So one thing I will say is in addition to guns, we had to add in our own Savage version of their smaller cone templates, because you have a big cone template right now, or a standard size one, right? And for most things that works well, but we found that it was running into issues with some of the scatter guns, if you will, and we weren't pulling direct translations from Savage Worlds in the shotgun department. And it also allowed us to open up to like wormlings, right? Why does a wormling have the same massive breath template as a elder dragon? And so we're going to have a smaller cone template that'll be used with some of those. So some of the wormlings will have smaller breath weapons, so they're not as massive. Small changes like that, right? So again, still very much usable, no major changes. The Advanced Player's Guide 1, I don't think is going to see many changes at all in it, just because it already has a lot of stuff. Yes, John, a mini cone. Just because I had a lot of stuff considered with it already. However, the thing I want to share with everybody here is that we will be reopening feedback for the previous books as well. Because one of the things, I wanted to talk about in a big meeting that we had was Monk saw a massive transition when you went from just the core Monk edges to the Advanced Player's Guide 1 having additional Monk edges, the Advanced Player's Guide 2 having additional Monk edges. And so, we all know the idea of creep exists, right? Power creep. And so I want to make sure that if we're doing this reprinting now, the second printing, sorry, not a reprinting, we're doing the second printing, I want to make sure that, Lander, I keep going through all these comments, you're throwing me off, all these nice people. We want to make sure that it's all 100% accurate. And most importantly, spend hours making sure that once you get the creature cards, right, you're not going to be worried in a year when, some stats change. So it's, again, nothing massively different, but refinement, things that may have gotten missed. The core book, I will say this, we're obviously redoing the armor restrictions. We had posted those in the Advanced Player's Guide. Everybody seemed to love those changes when we did them. So those will be reprinted in the core book. We're still going to have them in the reprinting of the Advanced Player's Guide, just in case you have the original core book and you don't need a second printing yet. You can still use it without having to worry. So you'll have all the rules in hand. So that's kind of the changes you'll see. But as I said, the feedback's going to be open. Again, so if there's something you've been sitting on for the past 2-3 years, you can submit it, and we'll go over it again. We've already submitted everything to, I know I'm getting way out of bounds on that initial question here, but we've already submitted everything to Paizo and gotten the thumbs up on it. So once this campaign wraps up and the funds and everything go through, we'll be ready to get this to you guys right away, which I'm super excited for. And yeah, we just, I was so excited when we sold, we sold out. We sold so many. You guys are fantastic. And so this was a great time to make these updates and get you guys what you needed.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting.
I do see a question I can answer real quick to Salcor. Yeah, once the changes are through, so after the cycle, the PDF will be updated. We're not going to put any of the changes up ahead of time, just in case with the additional feedback it changes. We don't want to cause confusion. And so once we release the finalized version, so to speak,
second printing.
Yeah, it'll go up in a PDF, and everybody who's got the PDF backed or already has a PDF, right, will get the updated version. So don't be afraid if you don't see any changes. in like the next 23 days while the Kickstarter is running or anything like that, right? It will come up once we get all the feedback and make all the changes.
Yeah, and as a company policy, we are moving towards releasing the PDFs when the second printing or third printings are in print. So before we had done incremental updates, so you're basically your printed book was always out of date compared to the PDF. Like if there was one little minor change, it was technically out of date. So we're shifting that so that your book is always up to date with the PDF until there's a printing that comes in. So slight delay on when we know there needs to be a change versus when you guys see it, but I think it just it makes it easier to everybody can be on the same page, that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
and if for folks who already have the books, there was like a nasty comment on Amazon. There was like the box set was up on sale, and like one of the guys like 3 stars. Pinnacle updates their books, and it's like don't punish us for updating books, folks. Like these are continually play tested. The improvements are minor. We get it 90% right, but like looking at the way other companies do it, the ones who don't take flack, they don't even update their books. They just stay wrong or clunky forever. And it's not that they're wrong, but it's just like we come across a scenario where it plays better like this, so we want to make sure that you guys are playing if you're playing the best. So
yeah, nobody ever wants to make somebody have to rebuy a book, right? I play a lot of games. I've played 40K. I'm no stranger to having to buy a new edition, but it is most definitely our hope that when you guys buy the book, you get to use it until you wear it out, like some of my books where the binding's just falling off.
Right, so that's the basics. So you never have to buy the updated version. We always give you the PDFs and the update and the document. So the PDFs are updated, the update documents are free. So don't feel the need, but again, if you want the newest, the hottest, whatever, by all means, now's the time to grab them. So here's a really easy one, and I know he's really excited because he's asked it no more than 2 times, no less than 2 times. Take the Frank asks, "Hey, will the samurai be in the book, or will we just tease people with the cover?"
No. All right. So this is let's. I'm going to talk a little bit design right now, right?
He's not answering your question.
I promise I am going to answer your question, and the problem is the answer is yes, sort of. So there was a lot of consideration when going through these class edges. For those of you who don't know, the edges that we have in this book are actually coming from 3 different Pathfinder books. And one of the things you all know is that we have less crunch, right? And less crunch means that where somebody gets hyper specific in one thing and another class does something very close to it, but is also hyper specific, they're able to do it, but we kind of can't. So, for example, the ninja, right? The ninja has a lot of rogue stuff. And at first I was considering not doing the ninja because I don't want to just reprint ninja stuff for you guys, or rogue stuff for you guys, painted something else. First of all, I think you'd see right through that. Second of all, that's not what I want to see. So when I was looking at it, I was like, you know what, I'll take a second look at it, I'll go over it. And what I went over was, rather than going heavy into the sneak attack combat-y, I went into the stealth stuff. So, ninjas are harder to find when they're stalking. If you can't see their weapons, this is a much higher ranked edge, but they get the drop on you the first round of combat when they attack with a hidden weapon. They have mystic powers, like using key powers. So they're built differently, right? I focused more on that aspect of them rather than the rogue. And so if you want to play kind of a combination like the full original Pathfinder ninja, you go ninja rogue, and you've got all the stuff as you progress through these edges, right? You're great. The gunslinger, of course, had a lot solo, right? He didn't have anything spreading out, and he's very much about being not only a good shot but lucky. So he has actually extra stuff he does with bennies. He can get back bennies faster only when he's using his guns. So you can't just
always use your guns.
Always use your guns. He even has a very late ability where he can spend a Benny to drop the wound cap to 1 to cheat death. So if you're trying to stay alive, it's a really awesome ability, I think. Magus, for anybody who knows about it, it's very much what I hope you expect, which is you have a little side arcane pool. You swing your sword, you cast your spell through it, you do extra damage. You just got to hit their parry instead of a TN4. but you can enhance your sword and do other nifty abilities like that. We have the shifter from the Ultimate Wilderness, sorry, where rather than being a druid that casts spells and sometimes wild shapes with the magic, it focuses on just your innate ability to shift and enhance you physically, as well as eventually letting you take on these minor, major, and even hybrid forms. So if you want to go full Chimera, you can absolutely do that. So this brings us back to Samurai. So I looked through Samurai over and over again. And what I found was that its job was done by two other class edge trees. One was the Cavalier, and the other was the Battle Herald, right? So getting good with a weapon, having a mount, waving your banner about, all that cool stuff. But it just wasn't themed. And so what we have in here is there is a section for playing a samurai. It talks about going Way of the Warrior or Ronin with two totally new choices for your order when doing Cavalier. But you play a Cavalier and a Battle Herald, right? And that gives you the full samurai experience. I did not rewrite, a 2-page spread to reprint everything for you, right? Again, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to give you all the new stuff. So yes, you can absolutely play a samurai. Like I said, Order of the Warrior or Ronin, it's your choice. And absolutely play it.
So yeah.
Sorry, it was a long answer because the answer is yes, you can play a samurai, but it's not the traditional build.
I don't know. I think that speaks to why this is not. We've had this conversation 100 times over. Ron Blessings talked about it, and we talked about it on the Savage Cast back in the day. Like, you don't just convert things. There is no one-to-one. You don't recreate other. There is game design choices in bringing the world of Galarian into Savage Worlds, and that's what makes sense for the samurai, right? It's like we've covered the cool things, so we'll just tell you, like, hey, this is how you recreate. This is how you play this character in our setting. So that's just a good design choice. It's like
it's a 1.25 page spread. It's got the art in the corner. It's got all the information. It's got all the rules. Bam. You can look up samurai in the index. Go straight to it to find the info. I didn't want to make it a leaflet. It is a core thing that I think people will want to be able to play. But yeah, I wanted we pack as much as we can in the book, right? And I didn't want to fill it with not fluff in story, but fluff as in padded.
Yeah, no, 100%. Another update question: will the reprints update any new rules, such as clarification on creatures sharing spaces or moving through each other?
I think there are some new rules. Honestly, I don't think there's one for creatures sharing the same space. So if
you've run into that, put it on the feedback form.
Yeah, I would say if you have a minute once the feedback goes up, throw it in there. We'll get into a huddle and somebody will go, does that come up? And I'll go, yes, it does come up, and we'll hammer it out. So yeah, I honestly, I think this is one of those things that most GMs will either hand wave or go, I don't want to have to look that up and I can do this anyway. But especially if you're playing a tiny creature and have to crawl on somebody, whether it's with Shrink or you're playing, I think it's a fairy folk or something from the Fantasy Companion.
When we just added cool new rules for that in the Sci-Fi Companion about battling, because I put them into my adventure, which I'm still writing. But yeah, so that's another reason that we have updates. Is not that there actually were errors or things that were wrong with the core. I have it right here.
Well,
the core book. It's that since we came out with Pathfinder Core, we've done the Fantasy Companion, we've done the Sci-Fi Companion, we've done the Horror Companion, and there are certain elements that we've learned there that work great in Savage Worlds. We want to make sure that those elements, are in Savage Pathfinder as well. So,
an interesting thing with doing all that, right? So, like, somebody had asked in another one that got brought to me if the book would be updated for the new power cost for boost lower trait, right? Everybody here knows probably boost lower trait and core sway got increased because it's a very powerful power, right? And it's got compounding effects, meaning you up your vigor. You not only up your vigor, you also up your toughness. It's two things. And it's stuff that as new and more and more things come out, we take a look at and take advantage of. And I was telling Landauer earlier, I wanted to talk about this anyway. For any of you who are interested in some of the builds or the balancing, because we had a lot of, in this book, the elemental archetype creatures or ancestries, if you will. And they all have their own like unique ability, right? Like what is the value of casting burning hands or a bolt or something like that, but just once per day? What is the value of a vine leshy that blows up when you kill it, right? In this massive eruption of vines and stuff. And it's hard to gauge that stuff, right? So, I've seen people especially talk about elves. Elves is my favorite topic, and it's all design choice and preference, right? But one of the things we look at there is, some people have commented about like the elf is technically up on the 4 points ladder, right? It's a little bit higher. Absolutely right. If you look at it point for point, it's up there. But when we look at designing stuff like that, right, it's one of its abilities that's up there is, I believe it's to resist opposed powers, which is only a few powers. It affects some of them, but it's not a mass. But the negatives are -1 toughness and -1 to vigor rolls, which are compounding, right? And so it's very rare that one power that you didn't get a reroll on is going to take you out. But -1 toughness and -1 to stoke rolls, that is pretty brutal. So, some of that stuff we look at when it compounds and we're just like, all right, well, this is a little bit more when we're doing this, and let's, balance it a little bit in this direction.
Nice, perfect. So here's talk a little bit more about these cards, because Ted asks, these cards are like a very useful tool. Are they the classic double-sided, or are they big Savage Rifts? So the Savage Rifts have archetype cards, and we do the dossiers. They're like little books.
Yeah.
Like that,
so it's not the dossier. No, it's not the dossier. So one full side is the beautiful Pathfinder Paizo art, right? So you're going to have that on one side. It will have 0 stats on it. So as a GM, you 1,000,000% can show it to your players. I think it does have a creature title. So if you want, you can put your finger on that. For the 30 seconds, they don't make their occult or whatever roll to figure out what the creature is. But then on the backside, it has the full stat run of everything that is involved with the creature. I know one of the things that we did in the original bestiary, in order not to take up like 13 pages or 20 pages of dragons, is we gave like the core dragon stats, then we gave the modifiers for it's a wormling or adult. It won't be like that on the cards because we have the space. It'll just be the wormling has all the wormling stats, everything like that. And then for creatures that have some not archetypes, but advances like the Ogre Raider or Drow Noble, Drow Priest, stuff like that, it'll have the additional info at the bottom there as well in a little break-off section. So it won't have the encounter design ideas like the adversary cards did, because these are a separate thing, but it'll be literally everything you need to run that creature stamped on that card.
Nice. Yeah, it's super useful. And Don has done the heroes work. It's in the FAQ and the questions. You go check out. If you like the new magnetic boxes, and who doesn't like the new magnetic boxes? And if you want to put all of these in magnetic boxes, how many you need to put all the cards in magnetic boxes? So there is a number out there, and yeah. So Don has that one solved. So you can go check out the FAQ on that. But let's go through a bunch of questions.
The other thing, real quick, things I've seen people do that I think would be great is I know some people will have like little card stands, like little clips that you can put your action card in. And you could theoretically do that as a GM too, right? Like slot your different creatures in there so your players have constant sight of what they are. And if you're like my players, you see a picture and say, F you, Mike.
Glorious. I know. I mean, right? Like even if Galarian wasn't really an awesome system and like setting, like the art alone is totally worth the license. Like, oh my God, so much good art. And so that actually leads into, let me see. Someone asked about VTT, and the answer for VTT is always yes, because there's literally nothing that we haven't sent to VTT development teams. There's nothing that we are like, don't do it. I think we had Fantasy Grounds go back and do Weird Wars 1 recently. That was totally like, just because the guy who does the conversions, he's really good, but also he just loves Weird Wars 1. So he's like, I'm going to do it. It's like, yeah, we're not getting around to Weird Wars 1 anytime soon, but thanks for doing that. So the VTT, here we go. Here's one of the questions. It's now a question for Metamorphic. So our little in-house design studio is spun off, and they're one of the largest, or if not the largest, independent publishers of VTT material in the business. They publish more than any of the platforms do themselves, which is great. So they're now Metamorphic Digital, and so they are the ones who control the timelines. The issue again is that they don't get started on coding until we give them the final 34962 hashtag PDF. So when it's published, the one that goes to the printer is the one that they start with, just because it's too obnoxious to go back and do as we're doing edits and whatever like that. So the timelines it won't be released with this campaign, but almost guaranteed, because they've one, it's been really well supported. Two, is pretty darn good, and three, we're using it for the game I play on Fridays. So I have an incentive to tell them.
I see a question here I actually want to answer. Tank Frank had one about an edge here.
The slingshots and crossbows, or
picking. So great minds think alike. It's not in this book, but this is actually an edge I had been thinking long and hard about and trying to build. The thing that gets difficult with it is we don't leave point builds in the ancestries, right? So we don't say this is 2, this is 0.5, this is 0.75, etc. And so the problem I ran into is, for example, with cat, you could say take an extra alternate ancestral or something, but some of them are, a full 2 point, while some are 1 point or half points. And so it's a very difficult edge to try to write, because when I write it, it has to be applicable to everything and make sense. And I don't want it to, put one out and, turn around and it's, either the worst thing ever, because I say you can pick 2, and so you end up getting 3 points worth, or it's terrible because I said 1, so it's you either pick a 2.1 or a 1 point ability. So it's definitely something that I'm looking at and is definitely on my mind. Obviously, I've been thinking about it a lot. So yeah, hopefully in the near future we can see something like that. But that's why there isn't one just yet. Cool.
Chris Wiley asks, will there be new stuff for the druid to shapeshift into? I mean, a whole bestiary of new stuff, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's more animals, there's more plants, there's more of kind of everything. And we added, so one of the difficulties early on with the shape change is dragons were just so powerful at such a small size. And we didn't want to make the one shape change unusable. And so we had held off on it, right? And so now in this one, we have a monstrous shape change, which for any of you who've played original Pathfinder, there are hundreds of pretend to be this animal type powers. And one of the things we do different is a lot of them, it says you get this ability, this ability, this ability. And it's kind of the trapping that you take that on. I still play every other week in a Pathfinder game, and we were looking at it because one of our players was like, I'm going to turn into a bird, and we're reading over all the stuff you get, and it's like, I don't think you're actually a bird. I think you're just running around flapping your arms, pretending to be a bird, and can magically fly. But anyway, so we've added a new type of shape change spell for some of the bigger, nastier stuff, right? So you'll have to pick up an additional power to do it. But yeah, there's new stuff for a druid to become. In addition, if you don't want to be a druid and you just want to be a shape changing pugilist monster, you can go shifter.
That's cool. Oh, you have to talk about the shifter a bit, because I don't know if we mentioned that one is in the campaign yet, right?
Yeah. So the shifter is very much a naturalist type shape changer. As you progress, you'll be able to pick different animals that you want to gain aspects of. Some of them will give you like re-rolls on like acrobatic rolls when you harness that aspect, but don't get too exciting, because that's like the mouse aspect, right? So you're definitely not turning into a mouse for your combat aspect, right? You maybe want to go bull for that. And so as you go through it, you'll be able to pick up different aspects, change into them, get the powers to pop out, and even as you shift, actually enhance your physical attributes while you're shifted and fighting. So it's very much you can take on this one type of animal, but really you're calling on the primal nature of the animals as you half shift your body, kind of like, when you're watching a movie and somebody just gives themselves the werewolf claws rather than fully shape changing. So I think they're a lot of fun, and I honestly have the most fun with it when I'm playing zero combat, and I'm like, all right, I have an aspect of a bird and a mouse. I'm not fighting, but I am getting through whatever problem you throw at me. Oh, locked in a jail cell? Well, you are. I'm not.
Nice. So Joseph David asks, will there ever be class that just represent stuff like the hybrid classes, like an edge for a fighter or monk that gives a brawler ability?
So the answer is almost certainly yes. That is one of the, for anybody who doesn't know, there's a book where Paizo did some combinations. It's Scald, I want to say Slayer, a couple others. But they basically, a lot of people cross class into these two specific classes. And so they made variants of it, right? The brawler, I think, is a ranger monk, essentially. He's a non-monk pugilist. And so we haven't gotten into that book. I think it's the Advanced Classes Guide. So we will be getting into that book, and there will most likely be stuff for that. Whether it's a full tree, such as a full cleric, druid, whatever, or it's more of a edges that something else can take. I don't know yet because we haven't dove into it, and it's definitely one that requires a lot of focus, as again, to not duplicate effort or duplicate content that you already own.
Nice. The Frank asks, can you use slingshots and crossbows with the gunslinger? Because their GM says no guns, but he's okay with crossbows. Can you do pew pew?
So I think right now all of the abilities are written with the understanding that you're using a gun. I also have a GM who is not a fan of guns, and so we don't get to play gunslinger in his campaign. So solidarity. But I do know that in one of the variants that Paizo put out, you could do, I think it's a crossbowman or something like that, which is basically you do a lot of the gunslinger stuff with crossbows. It's not in here because we don't do a lot of variants, but in my official / unofficial suggestion, I would say find equivalent crossbow, and you should be fine to use that. The key thing with gunslinger is that all of the Benny retrieving stuff is based around using a gun, right? So anybody who hasn't read the fluff, I think it's funny. Either you're really lucky or you're really good, because gunpowder tends to weed out those who aren't either. And so gunslingers are fewer in number, but very good at what they do. And so they'll be able to cheat death, and they do a lot of stuff that you can do with bennies. Let's just put it out there. And so, one of the things I want to do is capture that. And so they have the ability to get more bennies back and use bennies for additional things. And we restricted it to when you're using guns, because you want to avoid I'm just going to take the gunslinger for my seasoned edge, and now I generate an extra benny every turn. Who cares about luck? Right. And so we want to make sure to balance that appropriately so that you can see additional bennies when you focus on this one path. And I think we did that really well. Tank's really hitting me up here, man. He's trying to get me to post the whole book on the front page. Hey, there we go. Yeah. So I can get really quick in it. Trap making is pretty straightforward. We give a whole bunch of sample traps, first of all. Examples on what they do, what they are. I think there's 3 or 4 pages, maybe 5. And then we give the instructions on how to make it. I think it's an edge that you take to make the traps. And basically, there is a variant of Ranger that I used as the groundwork for this, because I didn't want to just take Artificer and make this trap, right? So it's something that requires work. And based on how big you're making the trap, like, you know, the number of squares or area and the DC or penalty you want to put on somebody noticing it, will add to the rounds. So you have to have the material, spend the time making it, and then make your roll for it. Teammates can help you. So if you're digging a pit, right, you can have, you know, 3 party members help dig out the pit much faster. But it's there for you to either A, get creative and, you know, do whatever you want to do, or use examples that we have in there. Like some are like, for an acid dart trap, requires like a scroll of bolt with the acid trapping, X amount of raw materials, X amount of time, and a roll, right? So it's pretty straightforward. And then construct building as well, tried to keep it very, I tried to follow as close as I could while simplifying some stuff. And what it comes down to is there is cash involved, a lot of cash involved. Spoiler alert, if you want an iron golem, you're not doing it out the gate as a novice character. I mean, if your GM lets you, you know, chef's kiss to your ability to persuade. But what it'll come down to is you'll need to get some materials. There is a price for it, or you can have the cost to build it. So you can either buy it or build it with your stuff. And then after you've got it, if you've got a workshop available, there are additional augments that you can put on it. And we've got the augments listed, how much it is, what it does. Some you can, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Cryptrite. One of the things like hollows out your construct slightly, but puts like essentially a tank of acid in there. So when it takes a hit, you know, it damages it, but then it blows out acid on your enemies. So fun stuff like that.
Awesome. So let's do a real quick lightning round because I promise Mike we keep this one short. Vankel asks, Psionics?
Oh, Psionics. There are no Psionics yet. But that does not mean they will not come, right? This is one of the things, right? When
let's keep it short. And Mike's like, I need to tell you. Mike's like, I can't go an hour. I don't want to go an hour. We're already at 45 minutes, sir.
I'm one of those people where if I follow a live stream, right, and somebody asks a question and it's just like maybe, it's like, well, I knew maybe was the answer before that, right? So psionics are very much a thing that I think gripped Pathfinder later in its development, and I think it would be cool to add. The thing I don't know yet is if it needs to have some sort of high variant like arcane resistance for psionic resistance, and I don't think it needs that. I think it can work fine with some variants, almost like a different kind of arcane background, functioning the same way. But again, that requires testing as well as further diving. And so probably when we see our next set of books that we go through, more than likely there'll be, you know, the kineticist, something like that, you know, that will pop up. But again, it requires a little bit of extra because I don't want to get too heavy-handed on the minutia differences.
Cool. I do not believe the changes are enough to affect the game master screen. So I think
I don't think there's anything big like that.
No, that's good.
All the modifiers stay the same.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you should be just fine on that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So here's a little insight. So we still have some like the core. So the core rules itself is now like sold out. So if you want to get it, you got to get, you know, that's part of the reason that we're doing a reprint. So it is still available in the box set, and I'm pretty sure we've got a decent number of box sets available still, which is a great deal, great offer. I'm pretty sure we're not doing the GM screen because I think when we were talking about like, well, are we going to open up a bunch of box sets and put in the new books? And we're like, no, we don't do that. We'll just give you an extra book. So in the future, you might be able to get like the new second printing. If you buy the box set, you get the box set and the second printing. So it'd be cool. Anyways, cool little thing.
Yeah, I feel like me give it to a friend who can't afford it or something, and
right.
just hey, now you've got everybody playing and feeling included, right?
But I don't recall any other discussions on like what else in the box set itself needs reprinted.
Yeah, there should be nothing else that if you've already bought that big box or have all the books, there's no need to double down on that to replace everything. The GM screen should be the same. We're definitely not changing the bennies.
Not changing the bennies. Get them while they're hot because they're
get them while they're hot. Honestly, the one I still like, I still don't have enough of, and I think I have like 20. Is conviction tokens. I love those hefty things.
Oh, good.
Oh gosh.
Eric Mona came over. We were at Gamma, and we had a couple of the conviction tokens, and he's just like, click, 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 click. He's like, yeah. So, I mean, if the guy who made the game is like, like in love with the conviction tokens, you did a good job.
So I know you're going to go over this, but let me answer this question. So first of all, if any of you, the Ultimate Combat and Ultimate Magic are the two primary books. We also threw in some Ultimate Wilderness. That being said, there's a lot of combat and or magic stuff in there. And so not only is there stuff in the new bestiary that you can use as familiars, there's stuff additionally in the old bestiary that you can use by taking the improved familiar edge. We, in both the edge and the bestiary 2, I have a small list so that you can just look, and I've asterisked the ones that are in bestiary 1. So you don't have to be like, oh no, I have to look in 5 different places to find that info. You'll be able to find it. And not only that, but in the APG2, there is a section of additional base animals, not like the Inevitable or a Quasit or anything like that you can take, but just like, lemurs, sparrows, monkeys, tortoises, things that you can theme with. And then augments. So you can have an augmented familiar where you'll lose your additional, I think it's your additional power points that it generates you lose, but it gets extra special abilities and supernatural abilities that it has. So there's a lot to do with familiars that you can use in this, or whatever game you're using the books for, right? No shame if you're using Pathfinder books to do some other system. I do plenty of homebrew.
Yeah, they're really good for just general fantasy. Salcor, well, the updates, yes, we always release the updates for free. It's a PDF. So one, you get the new PDFs on your account, and then we also do an update document. So 100% always, that policy will never change unless it does, but I can't see it changing. So there's a bunch of people. Okay, well, one more before the last 3, which are all kind of similar. Any new prestige classes? Prestige class edges?
I don't think so. Let me double check. No, this one does not have any additional prestige edges, but it does have additional combat edges, class edges. It has new companion edges. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who like to focus on like an Eidolon or an animal companion, there's new ones like Disruptive Companion, Devotee against Unnatural, Tenacious Hunter, definitely not open on my other window. Nice. New leadership. So one of my favorite new leadership edges, because I think leadership is one of the ones that's always inspiring to do. It's called Escape Route. And basically the way it builds is once you engage with somebody, all of your allies can move away or around them without it provoking free attacks. And so if you get in there with like your big old reach spear and engage like 4 enemies, you can let all your casters or squishy allies just back out while you hold the line. And so rather than a commanding your allies forward leadership ability, it's a protecting your allies leadership ability, which I just kind of fell in love with.
I love leadership edges. I think they're great, like 100%. That's good.
Real quick, I have to, for Kazlatan, there is no build for that version of the summoner. But if you decide to do it, you have to, before you turn into it, yell, "This isn't even my final form," and then you're allowed to have the Eidolon
covered. Nice. So the boxes hold both sleeved and unsleeved, a different number. And again, Donald, in his weaponized math brain, has gone through and figured out exactly how many sleeve cards go in and how many unsleeved cards fit in the boxes. So that's in the FAQ or in the comments. So it holds both. So the tolerances are just enough where you can put the unsleeved cards in there, but they also fit sleeve cards. So answers both, which is cool. Let's see.
The other thing I'm gonna I don't want to take this as a tentative. I'm pretty sure we're able to do this, but one thing I'd been talking to Simon about is putting a white strip on the side of it for wet erase markers so that you can like write the creature type on the side or write in use if you're dividing your cards by like, these are the ones I'm using for this game and these are all storage or whatnot. So I don't know if we'd heard back on that yet. but it's something I want to do. So hopefully we'll be able to do that for you guys as well.
Yeah, I think that's a yes. I kind of remember Simon mentioning something, but like those magnetic boxes are pretty hot. They're great.
Oh yeah, I love them. I've got my Deadlands one over here for definitely not a Deadlands thing.
Right? The right, and then like the cool like the UV that like you can see the gloss and selective UV. It's pretty. Okay, so we will probably do another stream before the end of the campaign because you guys had a lot of great questions and there is more content that's amazing in this campaign. Like I think we could probably go in for at least a half an hour just talking about the new mechanics, the binding outsiders, hazards, crafting constructs, spell duels, spell blights, and trap making. But if you guys haven't seen the campaign page yet, go over, check it out. It is 652 of you have already pledged, over 60,000. Thank you so much. That's great. It's well beyond our goal, and definitely keeping pace with the previous Pathfinder campaigns. Hopefully, we'll grow the audience. Like that'd be an awesome thing. But if you haven't got in, got to point this out. The Pathfinder Society, $475 gets you free USA shipping and $28 savings over retail for all of the core materials. And then you can add on each of the campaign box sets, which I think are $100 a piece, for Rise of the Rune Lords and Curse of the Crimson Throne. But with mentioning Rise of the Rune Lords and Curse of the Crimson Throne, Joseph asks, what's next? Shadow Chasers asks, what's next? And Tom, or Tank Frank, asks, what's next? So I don't know if you don't have to answer just because we're on a live stream.
No, I think I do. Right, like so I think I have mentioned this in a few pop-up places. The next one is definitely an AP. Those require a little bit more work. And the other thing is I wanted to hold off on us putting out another AP until we did the additional class edges and stuff, because I wanted to have that already in mind and any tweaks, as well as additional creatures that may or may not be used. And so the next one is an AP. There were a few that we had always hovered around. The next one should be Carrion Crown, because it is a well-loved AP. It is not going to have any more
adventure path.
Oh, yeah, it is an adventure path.
6
so
books
I won't
box
say
set.
anything else about it right now because I feel bad spoiling anything for Curse of the Crimson Throne. I definitely wouldn't spoil anything for that. But yeah, it's definitely next on the list to do, and I'm super excited for it. I hope everybody else is. I know we're getting close to the end here, but the last thing I want to re-push on is when we do the re-release of the feedback. For any of you guys, whether it's a typo you noticed or something that you're like, Mike, how did you not realize that when you put this edge from the first book, this edge from the second book, this edge from the third book, and this monster from, whatever, it creates this infinite loop, right? Like, please feel free to hit me up for those. Put it in the feedback. We look at them all. And while some of this stuff is, artist interpretation, so to speak, and we may not agree, it is always important to see feedback from all of you, especially since you're the ones we're doing this for. And so, we want to make sure it gets out to you as perfect as possible.
Great. So with that, folks, thank you for blasting off this campaign, setting on fire like a good scorch would. Scorch! And man, 653 backers on day one. That's a really great number. So we appreciate you for keeping the Pathfinder Savage Worlds line alive. There's more good stuff coming for it.
I don't know if we're going to announce this next time, but I just, for anybody who's there and at least wants to say hi, I'll be at Gen Con this year. I'm not sure where I'll be at the moment, but if any of y'all are showing up and want to chit chat or yell at me or share your character deaths, I've seen a few awesome ones get posted in the past.
So Paizo is so thrilled with the work that Mike's done. They've got a little partnership with a really cool thing there's a cool thing in Gen Con. It's going to be like sensory experience tables with I don't know, it sounds really cool. And they're like, Mike, you need to come run Pathfinder Savage Worlds at this table for us.
I promise I'll recognize you this time when you wave at me.
Right.
That's to Knights of the Smith Dinner Table.
Gen Con who you again? So Gen Con is the largest RPG convention in the United States. It's in Indianapolis,
It is the
Indiana.
biggest like anything game convention, you know.
So yeah, badges are on sale now.
RPGs, board games, cosplay, whatever you want, they got it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, except I say hello. I think a bunch of us are going to be there. There's Deadlands Dark Ages demos running like all day, every day on the hour, multiple tables. And I think we got our own cool little room. I think we're in the JW Marriott. I think that's where our cool little room is. But yeah, Crypto will be there too. So I'll be there. Mike will be there. Crypto will be there. Daryl will be there. Brian Reeves will be there. And more. I mean, the list is pretty cool. So I'm pretty sure Jody will be there. Simon too. He won't say anything. You won't get any words out of him, but he'll be there. So yeah, folks, we are at our hour, and I promised Mike 30 minutes, so now I owe him for like twice. But he's the one who talked over, so I think.
See, Simon warned you. I won't stop talking.
It's good. I wanted to go an hour. I was like, no, we can do half an hour. We can do it. But it has been an amazing campaign, folks. Thank you for all the love on day one. It does run for several more weeks, but yeah, get in while the getting is good. Yeah, it's super exciting. I think I really like the APG one. I'm playing a Rage Prophet out of the APG one, which is as John Doom said somewhere before, he complimented my character. It's really good. Where is it? It's back here somewhere. But Val's in that campaign, so he's seen the genius that is a barbarian who can also cast spells. It's back. Anyways, it's a great time. And APG 2 is just even more fun to add to the Pathfinder Savage Worlds legacy, which is getting bigger by the day and not slowing down anytime soon. And Mike has done a really good job on this one. And because we had the delay for Solomon Kane, the books are coming out really quickly when the campaign closes. So we are also very excited about that. So we'll probably be on stream again, folks. We'll see. Maybe next week. Maybe definitely like for the closing stream. But like I think we'll compile some questions. See if we can't pull Mike out of the polishing up the last of the edits on this. And but no, it's a great time. So with that, folks, check out the Kickstarter one more time. I'm pretty sure we've given you the links several times in the viewing of your choice. If you're watching us on the Kickstarter, thank you for being a backer. Appreciate you all dearly. And like there are like 4 of you who did the all in already, which is amazing. So welcome the 4 of you to Pathfinder Savage Worlds. It's a pretty great system. And I'm spending at least 1 game a week playing it. So and well for the near future. So without that, play some Savage Worlds this weekend, folks. Get out there and have some fun and enjoy the summer weather while you can. And we'll make Mike get back to work because we can't let him out too long. But we appreciate you, and I think we'll play that really cool intro again because it's really cool. But folks, cheers. We'll see you.
See you soon.
Pinnacle Entertainment Group presents Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. Fast, furious, fun, fantasy. On Kickstarter now.